with St. Louis sculptor Andy Magee, who has had his work published on Time Magazine, joins us in the studio today. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Andy, I just want to start off with your work that was published in the Persons of the Year in Time Magazine issue. Do you mind just describing your sculpture for us?
Sure. It was a sculptural portrait of Barack Obama. I made it when he was still a candidate for president, and it's a graphic image made entirely of coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. And that's basically it in a nutshell. It's called Change.
Wow. Get it? Change? That's kind of nice. What other sculptures have you done so far?
Well, I've made several since I've been at SIUE. One of my other more popular works is a piece called Artificial Sweetener. And like the Obama sculpture, it's a portrait of Marilyn Monroe made out of artificial sweetener packets, several hundred of them, Equal, Splenda, and Sweet and Low.
So your work looks really meticulous. I just want to ask you, how long would it take you to complete one of your sculptures?
It depends. Some are more involved than others, but usually when I get involved in the project, I work very hard on it. They are very laborious a lot of times, but so like when I made the Monroe portrait, I actually did that one in about 3 days, but I worked about 8 hours a day for 3 days to crank it out really fast. The Obama portrait I worked on for about 2 months, but I didn't have near as much, time at any given point to spend on it. So,
what inspired you to get into sculpture?
I was always very interested in art, and even from a young age. And by the time I was working on my undergraduate degree, sculpture was the area that most interested me. It was, I thought it was the most liberating fine arts discipline in that, you have free range of materials. You're not confined to painting or printmaking or clay and ceramics. So you can use any materials you choose, any subject matter and size, scale, placement, all those kinds of things are completely at the discretion of the sculptor, and that appealed to me very much.
So how was it that Time found your sculpture? What did they do to find your artwork?
When I finished the piece, my good friend posted a photograph of it on Flickr. Flickr.com, a photo web sharing site, and he had been involved with the Obama campaign, and so all of his Obama campaign friends saw it. It was linked and networked, and within about 2 weeks, the image of my sculpture kind of went viral on the internet. It was picked up on a lot of blogs and cut and pasted in a million different places. And during that time, before the election, Time Magazine, the editors at Time Magazine, found that photograph along with several other Obama-themed photographs and artwork that was on Flickr, and they sent an email asking for permission to use it in their magazine.
How did that make you feel when you?
Well, it was very exciting. I mean, as an artist, you're always looking for more ways to reach a larger audience,
right,
because you're trying to communicate ideas and you're trying to promote yourself. And, getting a full-page photo in an international magazine is the kind of press that you can't create for yourself. You can't buy that kind of publicity. So it was a huge gift to me, and I tried to take full advantage of it.
So, if you could, just describe your style of artwork or what you try to represent through your artwork for us.
Well, let's start with material, because that's most important. And a lot of traditional sculptors, and what a lot of people think about traditional sculpture, usually, it's made of wood, or it's made of stone, or it's a statue, or something like that. But I'm not very interested in those kinds of traditional forms or traditional materials, so I choose to use material that's very familiar to us in our everyday existence. and usually, things that are just ubiquitous, like coins or artificial sweetener packets or any number of other things. Because those things we have a personal relationship to, we can relate to them, we know what they feel like, we know what they do, we know how they operate in the real world around us, we know what their function is. But if you take those materials and recontextualize them in an art context, you can change that meaning.
Right.
You can flip it around, or you can add to it, or you can exploit it to deliver a different message or make people see them in a different way.
Right. Now, I know you have a website, and if people go to the website, first tell them what it is, of course.
Well, I have a MySpace page,
right. So
but it does have a slideshow of my artwork on it.
So what can they look forward to seeing if they go to your MySpace page?
If they go to my MySpace page, they can see most of my sculpture from probably the past 15 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously it's something that you enjoy doing. What would you want to do in the future?
I'm hoping to teach when I finish my graduate degree. I like being in the classroom, and I like inspiring students to see art in a different way, to think about sculpture in a different way, and to think about materials that they would never have thought of before.
Now, I know, have you had any on campus, on SIUE campus?
I have. I've had several pieces in different exhibitions on campus, and I had an outdoor sculpture in last year's Sculpture on Campus program, which is an annual event. It was a clothesline filled with faded blue jeans.
I remember seeing that.
Over by the parking lot.
So did you you did that all by yourself? You put that out together? Okay.
Yes.
So what other exhibitions have you had, or where's your work been seen other places?
I've exhibited in several places, mostly around St. Louis and Edwardsville, and several places in Arkansas. Recently, one of my sculptures won the grand award for the 50th annual Delta exhibition in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh. Well, Andy, again, thank you so much for joining us on today's show. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
And